I have several of these Irwin clamps, and they're really great tools, but I've just been kind of scattering them around my workbench and on the floor. So now I'm going to be making a French cleat storage shelf to store my clamps. Now I'm going to make a really simple shelf here. I have 2 end pieces that have the 45 cut into them, and that is going to have just a piece here that's going to go like this across the top, and then I'm going to have just a little foot that supports that on the cleat. So what I'll be able to do is take my clamp and just set it up here and hopefully just clamp it on there, and it'll rest on the wall. So that's the plan for right now. The first thing I want to do is take my cleat and put a pilot hole into it so I don't split this wood. I'm going to line this up with my clamp piece and then drill a hole. I'll go ahead and put 2 of them in here. Alright. Now, along with the screws, I like to use a little bit of this tight bond wood glue. Just make sure things are really going to stay in here well. I'm going to put down a bead of this. Shouldn't need a whole lot. And now I'm just going to use a couple of these 2-inch screws and get these sunk in here. I'm going to make sure they're not going to interfere with being against the wall here, so I'm going to sink them in tight enough. There we go. Let me get the other side on real quick. Now I probably could stop right there and these cleats would be sufficient to hold the clamps that I've got. But to make sure this doesn't fall off the wall, I've got a couple of little legs here. And I'm just going to be getting this here on the side. And so whenever this goes onto the wall, it'll really lock it in there. So once again, I'm going to flip this up and I'm going to pre-drill to make sure that this doesn't crack the wood. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of this wood glue on here. And now I'm just going to put some 1 1/4 inch screws in here. Just enough to get this to stay on here. Clean up this wood glue. Okay, let me get the other side and this thing is done. Definitely a very simple design. I'm sure you could make something a lot more robust for some bigger clamps, but for these little Irwin clamps, this should be all that I need. So I've got a couple of different sizes of these. Now I have seen some of these French cleat storage shelves that have a small piece where the clamp just kind of hangs on this little hook, but I kind of like the idea of just lightly clamping down on this shelf, and I can still remove that pretty easy. It doesn't have to be too tight, and it should hold several of these clamps here. Let me get all the rest of these Irwin clamps and we'll see if it fits all of them. And there we go. All of those Irwin clamps are now nicely stored on the wall. As you can see, that little piece right there is going to keep this from ever falling off. And there's even room, I believe, for 2 or 3 more in there. And I could actually take some of these clamps and move them to the sides, and that would definitely make more room. And because clamps tend to take up a bit more space down below, I can move these somewhere like, you know, over to the edge where it's out of the way. Now I do have a few more clamps like this one, and this is not going to stay on here very well because it needs a bit more of a shelf to hold on to. And I'm going to have to make something else for that one, and I've got some of the really tall ones as well. But for now, this is going to really help to keep these organized, and now I know where they are instead of having to look all around the shop. Thank you so much for watching this video on clamp storage. This is a very easy project. As you can see, it just took a couple minutes, but very effective because I have had these scattered all over the shop, and to get a couple of these I had to dig under some boxes for some unknown reason. But I'm happy to have it done, and hopefully it will help you in your storage ideas. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.